Steve coming back at you guys. Alright, so this is the second part of the video of me putting a cold air intake system on a 2015 Chevy Silverado that's got the 5.3 liter V8 motor. Alright, so in the first video I kind of walked you through how to get the whole assembly out. That is the original OEM assembly. Okay, you got the air intake coupler that goes into the fender. You got the air box, the air hose, the air exchanger, and two air tubes, kind of pre-molded, pre-bent air tubes that come with it. Okay. In the first video, the only thing that I forgot to mention is you also have the mass airflow sensor that just has two screws on it and it pulls out. It also has a quick connector that I'll show you here that you got to pop to pull up. But that's it. That's all that's in there, and essentially the only thing that holds it in place is the clamp on the front that goes into the throttle body, where these air hoses here connect to the air intake for the motor and the air exchange for the motor, and the grommets that are on the bottom side. There's three grommets that are on the bottom side of the airbox that just literally snap in. Okay. So that's the old. It's actually very simple to get out. The key is it's all plastic, so you don't want to force anything. So if you're using a little bit of force and for whatever reason it is not coming out, take a look again. Make sure that you've disconnected and loosened all of your clamps. And again, on this, you've got a clamp here on the air hose from the airbox to the air hose, and you've got a clamp from the air exchanger going into the throttle body. And making sure that the air provided the factory OEM air hose connectors and air exchange connectors are disconnected, and it should pop right out. Okay. And in the event anybody needs any technical information, that is the emissions control information for this vehicle. Okay. Gasoline motor. All right. So now here is the final product. Okay. Now here's the other trick. Okay. So I've been doing mechanical stuff for quite a long time, and I've put a lot of cold air intake systems on vehicles, and it's always pretty standard. But here's one thing that I can tell you. You're going to get a lot of people that are going to sit and argue with you and say, well, you have to buy K&M or Volant or AEM. You have to buy one of these name brands to get quality. Well, here's a secret. These are all made the same. All right. This one here, okay, I personally verified all of the parts and all of the equipment and all of the ingredients, I guess you could say, that go into making the filter, the shroud, the couplers, the piping, the hoses, the clamps, okay, the mass airflow sensor connection, and I am telling you right now that it is word for word, line for line, exactly the same as a K&M and a Volant air system, matched, literally compared, same with the filter, same with the filtration rates on it, the oiled filter that they're providing is exactly the same as the K&M and the Volants that I've installed. The K&M for a truck like this, I believe it was like $280 or $290. The Volant cold air intake system is about $3 plus, $315, $320. All right, I got the exact same thing for $80 with free shipping, with all of the parts, everything that you see here on this cold air intake system. I got this for $80. Okay, so don't be fooled when people say, well, if you're running generic, you're not getting the same quality. That is not necessarily true. If you do your research and you look at a non-big name brand and compare quality control and compare the manufacturing processes and, like I said, the ingredients per se that go into making these, you'll find that this is made exactly like those. Okay. So just kind of a fun FYI. I've learned, I've become a a deal shopper when I'm buying auto parts, because a lot of auto parts are made the same. You just got to kind of do your research. So again, this is the final product. Okay, you got where the two air hoses connect to the motor and clamp in. You've got the two connections that come off of the air intake pipe. This system, it provided a screw and plastic nipple for both sides that snaps, and that's got a nipple on the other side that snaps in and clamps on. Okay, the rubber coupler that connects to the throttle body with two provided clamps. The mass airflow sensor slid right back in, and they provided screws for it. And as I was saying earlier, this is the clip. When you pull this on and off, you've got this little red clip here that pops up, and then once that pops up, that'll pop right off. And again, when you're pulling on this, you want to pull on the plug, not the wires, because you don't want to ever pull the wires out, because if you do, you're gonna doom yourself. And the key is making sure that this lock tab is back in, so that stays put. Okay. Rubber coupler that goes into the shroud with two provided clamps. The shroud that was provided, that literally couldn't have been any easier and more precise when bolting on. Okay, again, I did my research, and the company I bought this from had done their research, manufactured to OEM specs, so the bolt holes and everything lined up perfectly. The plastic retainer mount that mounts on both sides. There's a screw here and a screw there. Okay, that mounts on, and then the pre-oiled cone filter that was provided that clamps on with provided clamp. Okay, and that's all that there is to it. I mean, and I can tell you right now, I've been driving this for a day and a half with this new system on, and what a difference. Power, sound, throttle response. I'm getting almost 2 miles per gallon better gas mileage than I was with the factory air intake. Okay. Now again, this is on a 2015 Chevy Silverado 4-door with the 5.3 liter V8. This is not the an EcoBoost motor or a flex fuel motor. This is just a gasoline motor. And again, just full circle, I couldn't be any happier. And again, comparing this apples to apples, if you look at some of the previous videos that I have posted, I've got some vehicles with K&M systems. I had a Nissan Titan with a Volant cold air intake system that I spent quite a bit of money on, with a Volant throttle body spacer that I paired up with that. And thus far, with a smaller motor and a way cheaper intake that I put on this one, I'll never spend that kind of money again. So if you hold on here, I'll go ahead and fire it up. That way you can kind of get an idea of what to expect when it's running. Okay. When idling, it's nice, it's quiet, it's smooth. Just really impressed with it. But when driving, and I'll do a little video here a little bit later and post it for you guys, but when driving, I mean, you could easily convince somebody that this has got the 6.2 liter in it. I mean, the sound, it's got a crazy awesome growl to it. The throttle response, and it made this thing. I'm not a lead foot now. I drive kind of like an old man, but I got honor, as they would say. And I'm telling you, this thing really scoots. It scooted before, it scoots now even better. So, all right, that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment. Please like my videos. If you do like them, please share them with your friends. And please let me know if there's anything that, I I own several vehicles. I work and do a lot of kind of different odd things on different vehicles, stuff that dealerships say is expensive or tough to do. I can normally find a easier and quicker and cheaper repair. So if there's anything you guys are looking for, anything you'd like to see, let me know and I'll see if I can make it happen for you. Have a good weekend.